Hey, hey, what is up, everybody? This is your boy AJ Trip, and welcome to the Game According to Me podcast. I know I haven't been doing this as of late, um, for those of you who may followed me, I've been, the last 6 months have been a whirlwind. I'm trying to, find work and try to stay here in Chicago. It's not going to happen. I'm going to be, unfortunately, leaving the city that I love and the city that I grew up in Chicago, and I'm going to be coming back home. I'm going to be going to Charlotte to live with my mother and then my stepfather. So we will have to see how this podcast goes over the next several weeks and even months. But my hope is to continue to try to do the podcast at least for the rest of the football season. Then we'll see what happens afterwards in the new year. Especially because after the football season, after the Super Bowl, I'm gonna have to try to figure out how do I go about doing my podcast. Do I go back to doing it every other week? Do I go back to doing it every other month because of certain other things? You know, um, what exactly what exactly do I do? Because we talk about football every week, and you have something to talk about. And the basketball happens and baseball happens, but I don't know. So maybe I'll do that, and we can talk about that. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Otherwise, let's just get into it. Make sure you follow me on YouTube. You subscribe to me on YouTube at AJ Trip. That's where all of my updates about my life will be happening. So make sure if you want to figure out what's going to happen with this podcast and anything like that, just follow me. Subscribe to me on YouTube at AJ Trip. Links will be down in the description box. You can follow me anywhere and everywhere. So besides that, let's just go ahead and let's get right into it. One of the things that also has happened is that over the last couple of weeks I haven't been able to watch a whole lot of TV, including college football. So I'm not going to go deep into the college football because I didn't watch a lot of games. I didn't watch any college football games actually. But I did just want to go through quickly and talk about some of the things that that happened this week. Maybe with some of the most important games. And some important things that happened, throughout this week. I think Alabama beating Mississippi State 38-7 is not that big of a deal. What happened in there that made it a big deal was the fact that Tua Tagovailoa dislocated and fractured his hip, meaning he's out for the season. And this could affect his draft status and everything like that, and maybe even his career if it doesn't heal properly and doesn't, fix properly. So it's a whole lot of major stuff heading for that young man, and we wish him all of the best. But let's now talk about how does this affect Alabama. They are still ranked 5th in the college football playoff rankings, and we'll talk about that right after this. So they are still ranked in that. However, will they be able to continue, their ways with their backup quarterback, their winning ways with their backup quarterback? If LSU slips a couple times and they make it into the SEC championship game, will the committee give Alabama the benefit of the doubt now? They still have ranked them 5th, but if other teams go ahead and win, continue to win? Are they going to say, well, they don't have Tua, so they don't belong in there? Some other teams fall, and other teams lose. So there's a lot of things that are affecting Alabama. A lot of things that affect Alabama's spot in the possible playoff in the future due to the fact that we had this injury. So that's one thing to look out for with them. Georgia defeated Auburn 21-14, keeping them in the top 4 of the college football playoff as well. Ohio State roughshotted Rutgers. As you know, Clemson beat the hell out of Wake Forest. LSU destroyed Mississippi as well. We had an upset. Oklahoma, maybe not an upset, but we had Oklahoma defeat Baylor 34-31. Knocking them from the undefeated ranks. So Baylor now may not have a shot at the playoffs, and I think Oklahoma may have a shot back. Utah, keeping their winning ways, defeated UCLA 49-3. So did Oregon, continues their winning ways, defeated Arizona 34-6. So there were a lot of things that were happening this week. One thing that did happen was that Minnesota, they fell from the rankings. They only dropped 2 spots. But they lost to Iowa 23-19. But they only dropped a couple spots in the college football playoffs. So their hopes and dreams are probably over of making it there, unfortunately. But they had a hell of a run, and also they still could make it. There's some, they would need a lot of things to happen, but they still could make it. Before we get into the college football playoffs, let's talk about some of the marquee matchups coming into this week. And as I peruse the things, I think we have number 9 Penn State at number 2 Ohio State. Can Penn State can they defeat Ohio State, knocking them out of the playoffs and giving Minnesota and themselves an opportunity to make the college football playoff, if certain things were to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Ohio State has been dominant throughout. I think this would be Ohio State's biggest test to date. But I think they're going to go out and they're going to show out and they're going to prove that they are the best team in the nation and not actually LSU. But you can't give LSU. You got to give them credit for what they did. Defeating Alabama in Tuscaloosa. I believe it was in Tuscaloosa a couple of weeks ago. And that seems, as I peruse, that seems to be the biggest game. We do have number 4 Georgia at Texas A&M, who's ranked 24, but and that could be a good game. I don't know if that's going to really affect the thing. I would still expect Georgia to win. And some people have a problem with Georgia being in that number 4 spot, but they had a loss to South Carolina. Arkansas is facing the number 1 team LSU. Oregon, number 6, is facing Arizona State, the Fighting Herm Edwards. So yeah, we have a lot of not too many from what it looks like. I'm sure there probably other good games from non-ranked teams, and that always happens. Like I'm loving Houston versus Tulsa is going to happen. I think that's going to be a good game. I think Washington, Colorado is going to be a good game, but that has no effect on college football playoffs, so to speak. So, and as we talk about that, let's go ahead and let's go to the college football playoff rankings. So, like you said, LSU is 1. They stayed exactly where there was. There was actually no change. There was actually no change in the top 7. It looks like. Ohio State was 2, Clemson was 3, Georgia was 4. The first 2 out. Alabama at 9 and Alabama number 5, and Oregon number 6. Utah is number 7, then 9 and 1. Then we have Penn State, Oklahoma, and Minnesota. Penn State, Oklahoma went up. Minnesota, obviously, again, they dropped down 2 spots with their loss. Florida was 11th. They stayed there. Wisconsin went up 2 spots to 12. Michigan went up 2 spots to 13. Baylor dropped down 1 spot to 14 with their loss. Auburn with their loss dropped down 3 spots actually. So that's the top 15. I can go. Man, I can go talk about the top 25. Notre Dame, they stayed at 16. Iowa jumped up 3 spots to 17 with their win over Minnesota. Memphis stayed at 9-1. Cincinnati fell 2 spots to 9-1. I think with their loss. I'm guessing they believe their loss. Boise State jumped up 1 spot to 20th. Oklahoma State went up 1 spot to 21. Iowa State. They were not ranked last week. They jumped up to 22. USC, not ranked last week, jumped up to 23. Appalachian State went up 1 to 24. And SMU wasn't ranked last year. They jumped into the top 25 at 25. So, as you can see, there's a lot of things happening here. We have spots that could go around, and what you could see here is that you could see once again some major things happen if losses happen. Now, I like I've talked about, I don't think that Minnesota can jump up into the thing, even with if let's just say if Georgia, if LSU, if Oregon and Utah and Penn State were all to lose, I think that's one of the ways Minnesota could get into it. I don't know. It's gonna be a tough road to hoe for Minnesota to jump into. Now, I think actually Penn State should probably jump up into it. They beat Ohio State. They beat Ohio State and they beat them handily. I think I truly think that they could probably even jump past Alabama, and then they could jump into the 4th spot. Leaving LSU, Ohio State, Georgia, then Penn State. I think that is it. I don't think you're going to see 3 teams from the SEC into the college football playoff. I just don't think that's going to happen, and it won't happen really, because at some point, LSU and Georgia, if they continue to win out, they're going to meet. So then it will still only be 2 teams. So there's still a long ways to go, but the only reason why they do it is for us to talk and for us to have conversations about this. Because let's face it, if Penn State beats Ohio State and the college football rankings come out next Tuesday, and there are, and there is 3 teams, LSU, Georgia, and Alabama, in the top 4, people are going to lose their minds. So we'll have to wait and see about that. But going down as we head down the road to the end of this college football season, I think this is going to be some fantastic football play, and I can't wait to see it. This is going to go down to the wire. It really is. So good on them. But we still need an 18 or a 16 team playoff. Yeah, we could talk about that. Now I did get to watch football. I got to watch football the last couple of weeks because I have the Yahoo Sports app, and I was able to watch some football on there. I was also able to watch the Thursday night game on Twitch. So I was able to do that. And let's start there, because the game itself was what it was. But the biggest thing that come from that was from the last 20 some odd seconds left in the game, we had the big brouhaha between Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph, where Mason Rudolph seemingly started to instigate something with Myles Garrett, trying to take off his helmet and seemingly look like try to kick him in the nether regions. And then Myles Garrett took off his helmet, and as Mason Rudolph charged him, he swung the helmet and hit him in the head with the helmet. Now, he hit him with the bottom part of the helmet, which is kind of covered with like some plastic, but still, he hit him in the head with the helmet. And that was not a good look, and Myles Garrett was suspended indefinitely, and he's going to have an appeal. So we'll have to see how many games he gets for that. I said on Twitter that he needed to be suspended for the rest of the season. That was a totally bad look, and it was a bad look for the league. It was a bad look on him, and props to Baker Mayfield, who right after he said that, he said that was dumb. It was stupid, and it's gonna hurt our team because he's gonna be suspended, and he ended up being it. So we'll see what actually the suspension is coming up. Like I said, he has an appeal coming up. I think if not this weekend, but maybe next week, we'll do like the Tuesday, something like that. So we'll see what actually his suspension is. But and a lot of people got suspended. Mike Pouncey, or is it Maurice Pouncey? I think whoever it was, he got more games. He got 3 games because after that happened, he went after him, started to punch him, started to kick him in the head. Then a guy, another Cleveland Browns player, he came up from behind and knocked Mason Rudolph down. After all of that happened, he got 1 game. Mason Rudolph actually has not been suspended just yet. I think the league is still reviewing it, so he still may get a game or 2. And I think he does deserve a game because again, he did instigate it. And even though you should never do what Myles Garrett did. He did instigate it by trying to take something off and possibly even kick him in the balls, as it looks like. And then he continued it by still chasing after him. He could have let it go. Once Myles Garrett took up him, he could have walked away and not tried to follow him. So I think he does deserve a game, and maybe he might get it. But again, it was a bad look all right around, and the game by itself wasn't all that good itself for a national television game. So yeah, that was that. So we had some pretty interesting things happen. Cowboys and Lions game was very interesting. Matthew Stafford's got this back injury. He looks to be out for what could be the remainder of the season. He probably should be out. They've played very well, and they've just come up short. So I actually would keep Matthew Stafford out. No need to bring him back. Get a high draft pick. Maybe even select Matthew's replacement. Because Matthew is getting older now. He's played well, and he was on his way to a second 5,000-yard season. But maybe you might need to go there. Because I will say this: as good as the quarterback as Matthew Stafford is, he might be on that fringe of saying, well, he might be kind of Kirk Cousins. Okay, he's a good quarterback, but is he a winning quarterback? Something like that. Does he do the things to put his team over the edge? So Lions may look at that. Who never knows? But that's neither here nor there. I also saw the Vikings-Broncos game. The Broncos had a big lead on the Vikings at halftime. The Vikings came back, and they come back to win. Kirk Cousins once again doing his thing. So that was interesting. I saw the Patriots and the Eagles. That was fun. Tom Brady has come out and said he's been frustrated with the offense and the way the offense has happened, and he's kind of upset about it. So all of those things are very interesting. I think he thought he had Josh Gordon, he thought he had Antonio Brown. None of those things have come out. So he may be a little frustrated with what's going on in New England, but they're winning. And so we'll have to wait and see. My Bears went out to Los Angeles on Sunday Night Football and completely laid an egg. There's even some stuff now with Mitchell Trubisky and whether or not he's injured, and there's been some stuff going on with that, and there's a whole bunch of other things that is happening all around that game. And Jared Goff, he didn't look very well as well. He looks like he looks regressed as well. So, but Rams beat our Bears. Not technically eliminating them, but for all purposes eliminating them from the playoff picture. The Bears would have to run the table and still need help to get into the playoffs, and that's just not going to happen. The NFC is really, really, really loaded because the 49ers are a great team. The Saints, of course, we know are a good team. The Seattle Seahawks are a fantastic team. The Cowboys are good. The Eagles are still up there. The Vikings are good. The Panthers, even though the Panthers lost to the Falcons. And what about the Falcons? Well, it looked like there was, just 3 weeks ago, there was some talk about them actually trying to fire Dan Quinn in the middle of the season. They've come out and they've beat two teams that I would think were really good teams in the Saints. The Saints are a good team. They beat the Buccaneers. And the Panthers, who I saw, even though they were, I would still consider them to be a good team as well. But they come out and they just destroyed both of those teams, defensively and putting up an offensive show. So, man, it could be interesting what the Falcons do. Maybe the Falcons run the tape. So yeah, all good things this week. And then Monday Night Football in Mexico City, the Chiefs and the Chargers, they played a really nice game. Came down to the wire with Phillip Rivers, as it always does, right? Phillip Rivers is that last drive down by seven or less, down by one score, I should say, because you can have 8 points, down by one score time, and the only thing was, it wasn't going to run into 60 minutes, because that's usually what it is, being on the AFC on CBS, time for 60 minutes, but he had his time. He went down the field. He had a great pitch and catch, I should say, to Mike Williams, that got him down there to the, into Chiefs territory. Unfortunately, he just threw another interception, threw 4 interceptions, thrown 7 interceptions over the last 2 weeks. And there's maybe some talk about maybe Phillip Rivers, is he starting to, to lose it now? I don't know. I think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Fame player. He still might have it. There could really be some interesting turns next year. Cam Newton, Phillip Rivers, Andy Dalton, quarterbacks who have been on their teams for years now, could actually be in other places. So that could be something to totally look at. Maybe one of them would be the Chicago Bears, who damn sure know we need it. So yeah, that was this past week. Now, I don't know. I don't know necessarily how it's gonna go this week for me watching games and things like that. Because I'm not sure necessarily. I'm not necessarily sure when is that. I do know that I'm gonna be leaving this weekend to go on the Charlotte. So I don't know. I could be leaving Friday evening. I could be leaving Saturday morning. I could even be leaving Sunday or even Monday. So who knows? I'm not nothing sure. But I still want to go through really quick and just take a look. We've got tomorrow night the Colts and the Texans. I'll be checking that out on Twitch. That should be an interesting game. I think two teams that. Oh, but by the way, I didn't mix up the matchup of the day was the Ravens and the Texans, and the Ravens completely blew out the Texans, and Lamar Jackson put himself in that MVP conversation right with Russell Wilson. I said Russell Wilson, after beating the 49ers in overtime 2 weeks ago, he had made himself the sold out front runner. But with them having a week off and what the Ravens did, Lamar Jackson, I think now has actually gained ground, and it's now a lot closer than it was. I think Russell's still in the lead, but Lamar Jackson's right there. He's like he's like that guy in that commercial, the tailgating commercial. He's like right there. He's like tailgating Russell Wilson. So we'll have to see how things continue to go on. They have a big game this week on Monday Night Football with the Rams. They're going to Los Angeles to check them out. So it's a major stage. So Lamar Jackson can do this week what Russell Wilson did 2 weeks ago on a national stage. Take out, what seems to be an okay team in the Rams, and put himself in. If he can do to the Rams what he did to the Texans on national television, I think he will put himself. And depending on what Russell Wilson does, he could jump Russell Wilson. I truly think that could happen. But again, tomorrow night, the Coastal Texas, that should be a good game. Hopefully, we have nobody hitting each other with helmets. Um, Saints and Panthers could be a really good game. So could the Seahawks and the Eagles. The Packers and the 49ers on Monday Night Football. I think in the later evening as well, the Cowboys and the Patriots. So some good matchups upcoming this week in Week 12 of the National Football season, the 100th season. So some really good things to look out for. Again, like I said, I don't know if I'll be able to watch any of it, and I don't know if I'll be doing a podcast next week to even talk about it. But if I do a podcast, obviously I'll catch something, and we can talk about that and talk about the stories and everything like that. So, but it should be a fantastic and truly fantastic time. So, two quick other things here that I wanted to talk about. The Hall of Fame list came out this week for Major League Baseball, and I put this out on. They put this out on Twitter, from the Major League Baseball official Twitter account. They picked out the full 2020 Hall of Fame ballot, and there are a lot of people on this list that deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And but when the people who vote in the Hall of Fame vote, they can vote for up to 10 people. So I put my list out on Twitter, and you can go and find this and make your own list if you want to. But here's are the people that I would put on the list. I would vote for the Hall of Fame if I had a vote this year. In chronological, not chronological, in order, just by in alphabetical order. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Todd Helton, Derek Jeter, Jeff Kent, Manny Ramirez, Kurt Schilling, Gary Sheffield, Sammy Sosa, and Billy Wagner. Now, I know there are a lot of people out there who don't think that the people who have been suspicions of doing performance enhancing drugs, or people who are even admitted of doing performance enhancing drugs, or get caught doing performance enhancing drugs, should be even in the Hall of Fame. But here's my thoughts on that. We don't know who was doing what. We don't know what pitchers were doing what. We don't know what hitters were doing what. There have been people saying that up to 70% of all baseball players were using in that era. So why do we need to keep out these people just because of suspicion? Now over time, over years, more and more fanfare, more and more support has come from guys like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, people who have major suspicion, but have not admitted anything, have not been found guilty of anything. So more and more support has arisen for them to make it into the Hall of Fame. Manny Ramirez was found guilty of it. At least he was found guilty of using a thing that could be a diuretic that could be used to mask. He was found guilty of using that. The suspicion around Sammy Sosa, and Sammy Sosa doesn't even get the amount that Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens does. Mark McGwire used, and he's not even on the ballot anymore. He's been taken off the ballot completely. But these are all people who should be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and that's so. I'm so totally over all of the baseball stuff. Put the people in the Hall of Fame that deserve to go into the Hall of Fame. If they deserve it, put them in it, and stop. Stop trying to be the moral police of everything. So that's just my take on that. And I think finally, as this episode comes to an end, let's talk about WWE, because we talk about wrestling on this podcast, and we have NXT Takeover and Survivor Series coming this weekend, all from the city of Chicago. 4-day weekend. Friday SmackDown. We got NXT Takeover Saturday. We got Survivor Series Sunday, and then we have Monday Night Raw on Monday. So all of this is happening in my city of Chicago. As I am leaving Chicago to go to Charlotte. Now I don't know if I'll be watching any of this because one, I don't know if I still have my account. I don't have any money, so I have not checked it. I'm not gonna check it. Probably won't check it until probably sometime Saturday night. Wherever I may be, Saturday night, I may check it and see if I can sign into my account and see if I can watch NXT Takeover. And if I can't, I can't. And I'll try to get my account back at some point and then watch it. And I'll do like a special Datcha shoot while I talk about NXT Takeover and Survivor Series. But there might be some nefarious people where I could go and watch it online. So we'll have to see. I know there's a lot of things like that. And maybe I can watch like Russell Talks live streams or something like that. It's nothing like getting you to watch it yourself, but whatever. So we'll see. I was thinking about doing a predictions video. In either way, because I've been doing predictions videos for the major shows, so I'm thinking about doing predictions videos. So it all depends on what happens tomorrow. If my mother said that she was coming to get me, that they would be leaving tomorrow. So if that doesn't happen, if they don't leave tomorrow, if they actually leave like Friday, if they don't leave tomorrow, then maybe I will do a predictions video and I'll put that out in the universe. I'll put that out in the universe come come this weekend. But if it isn't, then I probably won't do a predictions video. And like I said, if I get the chance to watch it at some point, I'll just do a special Datcha shoot where I'll review it and talk about it and give my match ratings and things like that. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how all of that goes down. All right, y'all, that's going to be it for this episode of That's a Shoot. Make sure that if you want to support your boy, and your boy needs all the support he can get, links down in the description box down below. If you if you want to tip me, I got PayPal, I got Cash App, or if you want to support me in my goal of being a content creator, a podcaster, I have tiers. One thing about Anchor FM that I love is that you have tiers where you can support. You can support me by paying 99 cents a month. You can support me by paying $4.99 a month. Or you can even support me by paying $9.99 a month. It doesn't matter to me what you do. It's just the fact that you want to support me is more than enough for me. And I just appreciate that. So please, if you feel the need to want to support me, put that down in the description box down below. Check it out and go there and do it. So, or like I keep saying description box. I'm not even sure where you guys are listening because I'm everywhere. So, if you're on if you're listening to me on a place where there is no the description box, then click the link in the description box down below and go to my Anchor channel. Go to my Anchor channel. Actually, you can't even do that. Oh boy. Well, just go to anchorfm.com and search Andre Triplet Show, and then you can go there and you can support me like that. So, yes. So, I need to look at some of those and see if there are like description boxes and things like that where you can links and something like that, or if there isn't. So I need to like check some of those things out. Because I might need to Yeah, I might need to figure out a way to promote that better. Let's see. Um, yeah, anchorfm.com / Andre dash triplets dash show. You can go there, and you can go to that, and then that's where the links are to support me. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. This is your boy AJ Tripp signing off. As always, be good to each other, y'all. Be careful out there. And I am out.